Hello, my lovelies. It is time to cook. We are making some beef, slow cooked. This could be used in any number of things, really. It could be used as like a pie filling. You can just put it over mashed potato. You could make it into like a beef sort of stew soup. It's just like a basic slow cooked beef recipe. I'm just going to be using diced beef and really just using whatever happens to be in the fridge that needs using up. It's a good way to hide a few veggies if you've got little people that are not fans of eating veggies, because as you slow cook it, the veggies kind of disintegrate. Oh, that's that icky bit. And they end up eating them and not realizing. It works, something like this works really well in pies, or even as like a shepherd's pie where you just put mashed potato over the top if you don't have that much pastry. I've got capsicums because I'm growing them, so I've got a few hanging around that need using up. Found a couple of tomatoes that also need using up. Oh, the onions are getting me. Please excuse the random meowing that you will hear because I have Mercy the cat at my feet, because as soon as any kind of meat comes out, she meows pitifully in the hope that some of it will somehow find its way into her mouth. If I ever cook chicken, I will have to lock her in the room because she goes absolutely nuts. And you won't be able to hear what I'm saying. So over here, I've got some olive oil in a cast iron pot. I love the cast iron pot. It just cooks meat so beautifully, and it can go either into the oven on the stove top. Got some pumpkin, just Kent pumpkin, I think. It was just on special this week, so ended up with a fair bit of it and need to cook it because don't know how things are in your part of the world, but in my part of the world, it is expensive to live, to eat. So don't want to waste food. Now, I cut the tops off these tomatoes because they were looking a bit average. I'll probably end up putting like a can of tomatoes in as well, so you can see that skin's a bit icky. Might not use that bit icky as well. They're not off. They're just like those sort of cheaper cooking tomatoes. As you can see, they're a bit sort of powdery, like the flesh inside is not super super red, super moist. So they're good for just cooking. And you'll also hear tippy tappy of my dog's nails on the floorboards, because if the cat's here, then the dog must also be here, because if the cat's going to get anything, the dog must also get his share. Now, neither of them are getting anything, but they live in hope. So, I'm going to start putting some things into... Oh, love that sound. All right, so we're just going to start with the onion and capsicum. Set up a bit high, we'll see. Try not to burn things. It's not a great look. So far I've got onion, capsicum. As I said, this is just what's hanging around in my fridge. I mean, onion and garlic is kind of my standard. We don't really do much in this house that doesn't require onion, garlic, olive oil, all those good things. So I'm going to turn that down a touch so it doesn't burn. Am I going to use the rest of this capsicum? Probably not. Let's chop up the zucchini. Love hiding zucchini in things if you've got little kids, again, especially if you peel it, because it just disintegrates into nothing. And next thing you know, they're eating veggies. Yay! Right. And they are kind of cheap at the moment, so sometimes you have to adapt your cooking to what's on special, what you can get, what you have, what you can afford, and all of that good stuff. Okay, so we've got a massive jar of garlic because we love it. All right, here we are. How much? I don't know. That all depends on you. We use a lot of garlic. We love garlic. So I don't know, what's that? About 2 big teaspoons, maybe? I don't know. Once your garlic's in, it tends to it can burn really quickly. And if you're not careful, it can give like an acidic flavour. So once your garlic's in, give it a quick stir around and then start throwing everything else in. And then start some juices from the tomato. We're just going to chuck that in because all juice is good juice. So I need a tea towel because shush. Sorry about the noisy cat. Okay, so that's on pretty low. That's okay because we're going to start prepping the beef. Okay, we're back. Let me make sure we can see what's happening. Excellent. Okay, so this is cooked down a bit. I'm going to pop a little bit of water in there just to stop it from sticking. Excellent. Okay. Oh, hang on. No, we're good. Alrighty. We've got our beef here. Looks a bit washed out because I've had it defrosting. And you know, it bled out some of the blood, so I'm just going to chop it a little bit smaller. It's not too bad. It's pretty lean, so it doesn't really need to be trimmed. As I said, I don't even really know what I'm doing with it yet. I'm just slow cooking it into something that should be pretty versatile. So I'm just going through grabbing any really big chunks, making them a bit smaller. Thing is, if it cooks for long enough, they will just sort of disintegrate and break down a bit anyway. Alright, so what we're going to do, I'm going to chuck some flour on to this beef because that is going to help thicken the whole situation. So a little bit of just plain flour. We're just going to, I don't know, that's probably about 1/4 cup maybe, thereabouts, and we're going to season that. So salt, make sure that's down fairly low, some pepper, alright, mix that in a bit. It's going to get a bit sort of gluggy. Don't have to use your hand, but nah, why not? Okay, so what we're going to do, chuck it in here, and essentially you need to sort of fry off the flour. Otherwise, you kind of end up with this sort of floury taste. Doesn't have to drip brown or anything really. We're just going to cook it down a little bit. Let me just rinse my hand. All right. So, you know, some people might like to take the veggies out before they do this. I kind of figure it's all going in together anyway. That flour, you know, just needs to get a little bit of heat to it so that it cooks a little bit. Okay. So now what we need is some moisture and some more seasoning. So we're going to start with just some water, some beef stock, chuck that in. Do we know how much? Not really. A bit of smoked paprika because I just love it and it works really well. And then you can chuck out some canned tomatoes in there if you like. I'm just going to add a bit more water and see how this looks, because you're looking for a nice sort of broth, kind of like a gravy type thing. Remember, this is going to cook down, so that meat, as it cooks, is going to release some of its flavour, and it is going to give that richness to the dish. One more thing, rinse my spoon. Now I'm going to add a fair bit of water because I really want it to be quite liquid, mainly because I really just want to let it do its thing without me having to keep coming back to check if it is sticking or it needs more. It's one of these things where, you know, it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm just going to let it do its thing because I've got 1,000 other things I need to do. Now I'm looking at that, I'm thinking, feeling like it's going to need a little bit more seasoning. I'm going to give it some more pepper. Also going to give it a little bit more beef stock because we've added, you know, probably about, I don't know, about 3 or 4 cups worth of water. Again, it's one of those things that you kind of, you know, let it sit for an hour and then come give it a little taste. It's going to develop the flavours as it goes along. I think it's pretty good for salt right now. Obviously it may need some more seasoning as it goes along, but I'm going to give it an hour, then we'll come back and see how it's going. We're going to cover it, bring it to the boil, keep that fairly low, and we'll check in soon.